right, am I starting this one off, or are you starting this one off?
Don't you always start them off?
I mean, yeah, but we could switch it up if you want to switch it up.
I mean, could, but that'd be weird, man. Throw everybody off for their game, you know?
I don't think it would throw anybody off their game. I think it would just be like, refreshing maybe. People would be like,
Fresh.
"Wow." Yeah, they'd be like, "Wow, I've never heard this voice come first after the trumpets are done blaring."
What do you think I am? A sun-kissed?
I don't understand what that means. Like, what are you talking about? Because you're refreshing?
Yeah, isn't that? I thought that was their campaign. Am I wrong? Is that
I
not
have
their
no.
campaign?
Dude, who gives a fuck about Sunkissed?
Ah, I see. Rude, very rude, Fred.
Listen.
Call me a
Sunkissed isn't-
sun-kissed and then tell me that you don't care about me, dude. Bro.
I didn't. You called yourself a Sunkissed, and I wholeheartedly disagree.
Wow.
You're like a. You're like a vanilla Dr. Pepper when they were making those. Not the ones that come out of the soda fountains or anything, but like the real ones that came in cans and bottles.
Okay.
Because those tasted like... That was going to be a weird compliment. Yo, you taste like... I'm glad I stopped myself, because that would almost turned into like a very different conversation for us to have on the podcast.
What are you talking about? People would have loved it.
So happy Tuesday. That's the intro.
Sure.
I'm Teller Morose, joined by my co-host Yo-Yo, and this is Tier List Tuesdays, the best show on the face of the planet, and anyone who disagrees is a
Valid.
piece of shit. Oh, yeah, valid. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, so following the theme that we have last month, we're doing the non-fiction book genre tier list. And if you don't know how this works, we've got our ranks on the side and our little list on the right. And we're just going through these, and we're grading them based on how much we enjoy them or how much, how worthwhile they are.
Yep.
I was gonna, do you want to add anything?
Honestly, I'm looking at the list right now, and I'm like, oh boy, we're in for something. I'm not really sure what, but oh boy, it is there.
It is definitely a list. Yeah, I mean, let's just jump right into it and get into history books of the non-fiction variety.
Okay, I want to preface this whole thing. Are we gonna rank these based upon how good they are compared to each other, or how good they are compared to everything between our book tier lists? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling too great on some of these here.
I'm gonna say on a scale of how much you would enjoy reading them.
Oh, so just raw.
Or you could, I mean, yeah, we could go in any direction, really.
Okay.
Are you?
If we're just gonna, I mean, I can 100% handle just like pure raw enjoyment. How do I feel about them? That's
okay.
Sure.
Okay.
This might be a harsh tier list for me though, so
Ooh.
We'll see.
You're not a non-fiction book boy.
Never.
That felt
Never
weird
have
to
been.
call you that. Okay. Yeah. It's we'll work our way through it. I'm a big fan of most books, so we'll see.
I'm a fiction fan, not a non-fiction nerd, bro.
Oh, so you're not a fucking nerd like I am?
Darn right.
Because that's fair. Like, I think there is a weird disconnect. Most people who like books definitely don't like nonfiction.
Yeah.
As weird as that might be.
They're much harder to approach.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big fan of certain types of nonfiction books, and I'm sure we'll get into them as the list goes on. That's kind of how the fucking show works.
Yeah.
I think we should start at the top of the list and just say that history, in my opinion, they're not very usually anywhere near as interesting as like the historical fiction type of books. And the thing is, history books to me would be a little more interesting if they were told a certain way, because the technicality of it is that history books can be quote unquote story books. They can be told as if they are a, fiction book, hypothetically, but they're usually not, and that kind of bums me out.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I see it. I understand where you're coming from. At the same time, I think history books are one of the number one nonfiction books I can get behind.
Okay.
Because when you sit down with a history book, you're actually like learning about how things went in the past. It is fact. This is the way things were. There's usually some bias, but that's just how everything in life is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something to be said for interesting things happen in history. Okay, like
Mm-hmm.
day to day life can seem kind of boring, but when you're looking back at history and they just show like the big things that happened, some interesting stuff goes on that you wouldn't otherwise expect.
That's fair. I think I don't have a problem with history books. I don't want to like immediately put it at F or anything like that. But I think again, it's kind of just a matter of the way that they're told. I feel like when you have such interesting ideas and like, you know, again, like it's like stories that you could be telling. But I think that the way they're told, it just seems a little more too close to like they want to make sure it's as factual as possible when they avoid. I'm struggling right now.
Oh no.
um, it's I don't know. Just the way that they could be like they could be recreated in the same way that a lot of historical like documentaries do it, or it's like let me kind of act this out a little bit more, and give a little bit more of the context of how things went down versus just like here is verbatim what happened.
Well, I will say something that makes history books a lot more interesting is like eyewitness accounts, stuff that we have specifically from the time frame where people wrote down, what went on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can bring that into your history, it makes it a lot more interesting. Gives a perspective of somebody in the time instead of somebody, in modern day looking back at it and going, wow, that was a dumb idea.
That's fair. Um, I think I'm kind of sitting around the same place that we did in the last episode with historical fiction, where it's like they're very informative, they're very, worthwhile to look into, especially if it's a topic you're interested in, or something you just want to like, invest a little bit of your curiosity into. They're really great for that kind of thing. But there are ways that they could be improved.
I think that's fair. I think B is a good fit, really. Well, like I said, these are some of the nonfiction books that I enjoy the best, and B. Yep. So keep that in mind as we go on.
Oh boy, you hate being a nerd. Oops. Yeah, I spelled that right. It's always a struggle when I'm like, for context, my microphone is always right in front of my computer. So I'm either looking up above the microphone to like see down onto my screen, or I'm like looking around the sides. And then I'm too focused on trying to see the screen that I don't know if I'm spelling it right. Anyway, next up we have biographies.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for history, they're okay. It's all right because it's a history. It's a look back. But instead of looking at like specific, really interesting points in history where there's a lot to look at, you're looking at the entirety of a person's life. And there's going to be interesting parts, to be sure, and it's up to the author to try and get you invested in this person's life and their successes and their failures. Every little thing that happens to them, you have to care about the person, and it's entirely on the author to make it work. But it can be really good.
So I have a slight hang up with biographies in that recently I came across a video by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Markiplier, in which someone wrote a book about his life.
Yes.
Granted, he's still alive, and also he did not give them permission to write the book. And also, they got a lot of things wrong.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that happens in every situation or scenario or every biography is going to be wrong, but they won't always get it completely right because they weren't, unless it was like a close friend of the person or whatever. But usually there's going to be something that's just written kind of wrong or not the way that the subject of the book would probably want it to be intended.
Well, that's also one of the things that is a bit interesting, that, biographies are considered nonfiction, but there are occasions when people do tend to dramatize things in a biography,
right,
or perhaps use words that maybe they were told were said, but weren't potentially actually said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It can be a little bit less genuine than a lot of nonfiction.
Right. Yeah, and I think, that's something that's really caught my... just, in general, the thing about biographies that really bother me is the fact that, because that happens on occasion, it makes me kind of paranoid to read them and be like, well, is this really what was, going through their head or whatever it may be? Is this as genuine as it possibly could be? And, 9 times out of 10, the answer is no.
Yeah.
But, they're good for the informative side of things, but I think if you want a deeper dive into someone's mind, you have to either, write it while they're still alive and ask them as much as possible, or, just try to avoid the specific subject of whatever it may be and just leave that out of the book.
Right.
I don't know, man. Biographies are kind of mid to low tier for me.
Okay. I can pretty much agree with that, yeah. I definitely don't like them more than history, so.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring back the joke from last episode and say biographies, more like diographies, am I right? Because I want them to be a D tier.
That's quite the joke you've decided to go with, and
yeah,
you know
it's
what?
Pretty bad.
I think D tier. I think D tier is fine, buddy. I think it's good.
Are you just saying that because you want me to feel good about my joke?
No, I want you to feel terrible about your joke. Jesus, are you kidding me?
I mean, that's fair, but I also I'd like to feel a little good about my joke, and I feel like you went straight to hurting my feelings rather than disagreeing with the joke, and I don't know, guys.
All right, I'm sorry, Snowflake. Did I offend you?
All right, it's going in D. Biography.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh well. Whatever.
Oh, should I have put in diography? I know you said you hated that joke, but if you want me to change it, I can.
You know what they say about jokes. I mean, they're always good if you keep bringing them back. Rules of 3, baby. Rules of 3.
Yeah, that's what they say. Bring back a joke too much. That's the gold.
Isn't that the rule, though? You just do it again. If it wasn't funny the first time, then you just need to bring it back again, and it'll be funny the second time. Is that it?
The rule I've always gone with is every joke should come full circle at some point. That's usually if the jokes, make people laugh. So I don't know what other people say. But I'm gonna leave it. Fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah, you know what? I think everything's good here.
All right. In the attempt to combat biographies, I put autobiographies and narratives in their own separate category. These are probably my favorite. I'm gonna be honest. If there was an S tier,
Really?
this is probably it.
Really?
I love autobiographies. Even if they're biased to the person who wrote them, it is what is inside their head about a situation that they went through. Usually the autobiographies I enjoy are about musicians or successful entertainers of some sort. And those are really, really cool to read about, like what their kind of rise to fame or stardom or whatever is kind of like. I'm a big fan of these.
Okay. I mean, I can accept that you're a big fan of them, for sure. Totally.
Okay. I can't think of a huge downside other than, like, you kind of have to take their word for granted as well, but in a different sense because, like, they could be talking shit about somebody in their book, and then that person could be, in defense of a different position or whatever, but that's kind of the thing about autobiographies that I like, is that if there is something like that, you get to hear, at least one person's reasoning for why they feel the way they feel or did the thing they did.
I do like the fact that autobiographies are straight, just like a window into somebody's mindset, how they view their own life and how things went for them.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. It really gives a unique kind of window on the human experience, whatever.
Right.
However, I don't know, man. A lot of the times, autobiographies, I just get actually bored out of my mind. They talk about stuff, and I'm just like, cool. That's great for you. Oh, that sucks for you. Really?
Usually the reason why I pick up an audio biography an audio biography.
An audio biography?
That's what this is.
Audible.com. This is an Audible ad?
No,
we got
can't
sponsored
do that.
by Audible?
No, we can't say that, man. That's not okay. Audible, please sponsor us. We're really nice people, and we do good things, and we like books, and I would love to have an audiobook sponsorship. You guys are cool. Anyway, the reason why I like autobiographies is because it's usually a person that I am interested in learning more about. And when I'm in that particular feeling, I think a big one for me, even though I'm not super interested in them, is The Dirt, the book about Motley Crue. I don't like their band a whole lot, but it was really cool to read more about just general stories about how they, got to where they are and stuff like that. So I think it's about finding the right the right subject or the right field or whatever
maybe that's
the
my
right
problem.
interest is.
Maybe I just don't. I don't know. I just don't. I'm too self-centered. I don't care about these other people. These, okay. Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
I feel like you probably remember this, but when asked to do a project in school on my hero,
Yeah.
I could think of no one, and so I chose Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
I proceeded to have every single classmate do their project on their parents, and I thought to myself, this was an easy choice for them. They just bam, easy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for me, I was like, who's someone that I actually think I want to be like?
In all fairness, I did not pick my parents either.
Yes, that's right.
I kind of struggled a little bit. I think at the time I was a little more interested. The subject for me was Brent Smith of Shinedown, because I'm a big fan of their music, but also he went through like he had a kid and he got sober and quit doing drugs and got healthy and all this crazy stuff. And it was just really cool to see that. But I see what you're saying, where it's just like it's hard to pick like a hero per se. And if you do have like a big hero, it's probably even harder to find an autobiography.
An autobiography?
Yeah, not an audio biography, but hey, Audible, if you think about it and you want to sponsor us, that'd be really cool. We'd love to have a sponsor for this show.
Full circle, baby, full circle.
I think the kissing noises are driving them away.
I can't imagine.
But yeah, if I were to say autobiographies to me are definitely the S tier for me. I don't know if I'd say definitely, but they're really high up there for me. They're always really interesting, even when they're not. You know, if you can find the right subject for it, like some of the dull parts can even be like, oh, like, you know, at least it's something to learn about.
Okay. All right, I'm just gonna say, for me personally,
go ahead.
Autobiographies probably better than biographies. Biographies are in D tier. Probably better than probably better than biographies. Not a shining review by any means.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
we'll average it out wherever you want to put it.
I mean,
I'm thinking S or A, but you know, if it ends up in B or C, I won't be like terribly offended, because it's always, to me, it's just like, it's interesting, but it's also a personal thing where it's like, this is interesting to me. If you don't find them interesting, that's kind of the point of the tier list. You know, we're trying to find the middle ground of where we'd stand on them.
I really don't. And notably, I would say that I probably find them less interesting than history.
Okay.
Because I just, people's lives I have a much harder time getting invested in than, like, outcomes of a war or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, it's probably C tier, B tier at best. You're saying S or A.
So right in there with B.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like I said, the whole purpose is that we try to find like a solid middle ground on where we place them on a chart like this.
That's true, but I feel bad taking something from S down to B.
No,
that's a hard downgrade.
Well, see, here's the thing, man. Remember how you were saying at the beginning of this episode that you're not a big nonfiction book kind of person?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of with you on that. Like, I like the books, but I'm not going to be, like, in solid defense of any one type of them. They're made legitimately for learning purposes, which for a lot of people is pretty boring. I think these are the most interesting of a boring type of book.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I'm trying not to rank them based on each other. Because if I was going to rank them based on each other, I'd probably put history in A or S. But I'm just ranking them like raw.
Yeah.
Compared to book.
Compared to book.
Yes.
Well, I think it would be, you know, if you base them on each other, if history is an S thing for you, it would probably still be at B or maybe A.
If you really wanted to squeeze it into A, I'd be okay with that. It wouldn't make me cry.
I'm looking at the other ones, and I definitely think that it's the highest that I would rank. So I do feel like I want to squeeze it into A, but also I'm not like hard pressed to it. I just don't think if we don't put it at A, I don't think anything else is gonna get to A or S.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. So
yeah,
let's just put it up there.
All right.
You know,
biography / narrative. Sorry,
that
what?
feel when you accidentally put something in A because it starts with an A and you didn't even realize it. Oh no. Ooh, buddy.
D is for diography, and B is for bistory, and A is for academic texts. How do you feel about it?
Nope.
No?
I mean, they serve a purpose. Their purpose is to teach you things. They're all bad. I've never read one that was actually good.
Okay.
At best, I've read ones that were informative and non-repetitive. At best. Outside of that, academic texts tend to be incredibly dry, absolutely chock full of repetition, and usually organized in such a way that if you want to learn the material properly, you'll find yourself cross-referencing chapters as you go through the entire book.
Okay.
I think the standard for academic textbooks is terrible. Actually terrible.
I have a standout thing in regards to that. I've had, this isn't proving your point wrong, but I've had a total of 3 academic texts that were really, really good. Bearing in mind that that's 3 out of the 5.5 years I went to college.
Why were they good?
So the one of them, I will actually plug this because I fucking love this book. It is Modern Recording Techniques by David Miles Huber. And it's legitimately just like, here is everything you need to know about running like a studio. Not the business side of it, but like it goes into like electrical circuitry, which is not fun, but it's definitely useful. It talks about all the different types of plugins for, you know, your voice or instrument or whatever, and what they do and how to make them sound good with whatever you're recording. It's a really good book, and I'm not kidding, read this book from cover to cover. So I'm a nerd, but good book. Another one, I can't read the author from here, but it's on my bookshelf. It's The Music Business Handbook and Career Guide. Really, really nice stuff if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And another one that I had was about, it was a communication textbook. That was my major in college. And it was kind of just about, like, I can't remember the name of the class, but it was like a personal communication class where it's like, this is kind of... To put it bluntly, it was kind of like, if you have a relationship, this is why it's working and failing. And it would just touch on every little detail of like how one word can really make a difference of, you know, how a sentence comes across to other people. And it was really cool to read about.
Okay.
That being said, that was technically 4 classes that I had those books for. And I went to college for, what would that be, 3 semesters for 5.5 years. You know, roughly 15, 16 semesters of college where I took at least 3 classes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, most of them suck. That being said, yeah, they serve their purpose, and sometimes they can be kind of interesting. But again, it's like, sometimes with those, like autobiographies, if you find the right person and you really respect them or want to know more about them or whatever, usually you're going to get that enjoyment. With academic texts, you could, on the off chance you're like me and want to learn something that a college textbook or academic text can tell you, sometimes it's still just going to suck and you're not going to have a good time.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I've never ran into a textbook that I thought was laid out well, even. Like, to the point where I said, yeah, you know what? I feel like this book has done a very good job of conveying the information I need to know about blank.
Right.
I can't think of a single textbook I've had to use in my entire academic career that I actually thought anything positive about.
That's tough, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I've had 3. So, you suck, and you should have just not gone to college.
I don't know. Apparently, music business and communication was the way to go. Because
No, I mean that was funny to me because like you have an actual like degree that's worthwhile. I just wanted to learn how to not be an introvert.
a worthwhile goal, man. A worthwhile
Yeah,
goal.
man. I only spent thousands of dollars and only got 3 cool books out of it. Anyway, yeah, I think academic texts are like at the most like even if you're not talking about like a college textbook and you're just finding like an essay that was written by somebody, it can kind of like spark a curiosity a little bit, but not nearly enough to like put them at a high place. Usually it's there just to be like, here's informative information about a topic, or here's updated information about a topic. And that's kind of it.
See, yeah, I can't justify putting them all the way at the bottom because they serve a purpose,
Right.
always, no matter what. And so, honestly, I'm thinking E for economic burden.
I was gonna say E for eek. I don't want to read this.
All right, at least
right
we
there with
agree
you.
on the eek.
Yeah, on the eek
Yeah.
with a hard K. Academic text. Oh, nope, that's not quite right. There we go. Great.
Maybe you should read some more academic text.
Academic text does. That's what I typed.
Alright, so up next.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of forgot this was
Philosophy.
on here.
Yeah. Me too.
I don't know. I don't know how much the people know about me. But
Not enough. I promise.
I studied chemistry. If I didn't study chemistry, I probably was going to study philosophy. I didn't think that was going to get me anywhere, so I studied chemistry. But oh, buddy, do I love philosophy?
Philosophy's
man.
awesome. It's great. And I think that's one of the things, like, this is one where, like, you know, like, one of the reasons why I went into communication was because it was a little more, like, driven by everyday interaction and stuff like that. And philosophy is very similar. And I think that's probably one of the things that I appreciate the most is just, like, if there's something that's informative but also just, like, if this will directly impact your day-to-day basis if you pay attention to this kind of stuff, that's my shit. So philosophy's pretty high up there.
I mean, they can definitely still be dry.
Yeah, for sure.
But the big thing for me when it comes to books about philosophy and schools of thought is that it asks you to take a moment and consider how a person could think a certain way, why you think the way that you do, so on and such forth, and that can, as you said, literally affect your day-to-day life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how much thought you put into your personal philosophies, like, they could change drastically.
Yeah.
And it changes everything you think about everything, you know?
Right. That could go, like, anywhere from, like, how you make friends, how you perform in a job interview. Like, there's just so much to it where it's just, like, if you have the right, you know, like, school of thought, hypothetically, you know, that could change so much about what you do and how you act and stuff like that. That I don't think it's something that a lot of people think about, but they really should. Philosophy books are incredible.
Yep.
This is one we both agree on. I feel like it has to go at S just for that.
Well, that's the thing, because on the one hand, I'm like, I do like philosophy books notably better than autobiographies, and they are an A. But I was trying not to rank them based upon each other. I was trying to rank them raw.
Well, I mean, hypothetically, tell me both. Where would they go if you were ranking them based on the list and also based on... Like,
based on the list, it
thought?
has to go in S, just because it's better than literally everything else that's on the list, and S is the only rank higher.
I'll go ahead and put that in while you tell me more.
Raw, it's probably B or low A.
Okay. They're good. They're really interesting, and I think Honestly, I think just more people in general should read philosophy books just to get an idea of how other people might think, even if it's not, excuse me, even if it's not something that's trying to persuade you on how to act or anything like that. Just hearing other people's mindset could, give you a lot of insight in how you might be able to interact with them.
Yeah, it's
good
really
shit.
good. Just to open your thought process and like just how you deal with people, why people think the way they do. It gives you a lot more understanding of your fellow man.
Right. Oh, yeah, they're pretty great. We're gonna move down to journalism, and I would put it under the assumption that this would refer to not just newspapers, but things of that sort. I want to figure out what we would consider journalism to be.
Okay.
For the most part, it is probably considerably low, in my opinion.
There is something interesting about journalism because the basic principle of journalism is you find something that you think people ought to know about, and you figure out as much as you can about it, and then you show it to the public and say, "Hey, I found out this. Isn't that neat? Wouldn't you like to know that?"
Isn't that cool? And then most people are like, yeah, I guess so. Like, cool. Great. That's fine.
It's also
Sorry.
like one of the few tools that people have historically had to be able to expose underhanded things that were perhaps going on,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. However, nowadays, most journalism tends to take the form of extremely, like, clickbait.
Yeah.
I want you to read this. Here's 7 secret tips on how to cook the perfect omelet.
Number 4 will destroy you.
Yes.
I don't know if they say destroy, but
Well, you know. Destroy might be a little strong,
Yeah.
but there's probably number 4 will shock, number 4 will blow your mind, number 4, whatever.
And the number 4 is like, had some cheese. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
cool.
I'm not saying that there's not a place for journalism, and I think historically journalism is incredibly important. I do, however, think that currently there's not a whole lot to get at it. I mean, you can always read like Time magazine kind of stuff, or World Geographic, National Geographic, that one.
Yeah.
I used to be a big fan of National Geographic,
I
but
did
at the
not know
same
that.
time, it's all meant for like consumption,
Right.
and so you have to take every single thing with a grain of salt because they're trying to make it as entertaining as possible, which
They're trying to
respectable.
sensationalize it. That's
Yes.
the thing. They're trying to make it either. I'm sorry, a car just skidded their tires and it scared me a little bit.
I heard that.
See, the fucking windows are. Anyway, uh, I'll leave all that in. No, I won't. The thing about news today is like it's either trying to make you uncomfortable or outraged, or it's just trying to like litter ads onto whatever they can. Like there was all the things with like bad boys stuff, and I might have to censor that word. I'll say bad boys. And like they just littered a bunch of ads for like Coke and Dr. Pepper and like Doritos and all this dumb shit. And it's like, hey, like we're trying to like make sure that we're good, And I don't know, it's just I hate seeing that, like news especially has just fallen for this trap of like, let's try to make as much money as possible rather than just telling people what's going on.
Yeah.
Like if there was some crazy attack on the United States, it wouldn't be like, straight news coverage. It would be like, here's as many advertisements as possible, and we'll tell you when there's an update after the ads. And it's like, that's kind of sick. Like, that's kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's the other thing is that it's always like extremely political, and I understand it's a very political time, but also like not everything has to be as political as some articles make it out to be.
Yeah, so somebody really needs to be shooting straight facts,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's not the news, it's not journalists, and it really ought to be.
Right. And that's as far into politics that we're gonna get.
Debatable, but how's about E?
Yeah, that's fine. I just got to think about how to pronounce journalism with an E or a D.
Well, I kind of just was thinking just like throw the E in there, just like E-journalism.
Like, yeah. I wanted to call it E-journalism. That was bad.
I don't even think that was a joke. I'm pretty sure that was just English. I got nothing, man.
My pronunciation of E-journalism. Great. And shit. I broke it. What was their academic text? I'm sorry.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah, I don't know. We're having some trouble this one. This is probably the hardest recording session we've had so far.
Yeah. Jesus, I was having such a good day before this. That's fucked up. I didn't mean that. I'm having a good time. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad everyone's here watching, and you should consider subscribing to the channel and following our social media that we have that we don't post very much on, but hey, we're doing our best. And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up or down. You'll probably thumbs this video down because it's not very good and we're having a rough day, but we're glad you're here either way. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I'm really glad you found an outlet for that plug.
God, shut up! Anyway, I'm sorry I said that. I didn't mean it. Let's move on, man. Next up we got photography.
What are we even talking about here? What does this mean? Photography books? Books of pictures or books about photography?
Oh, I didn't even think about the latter. I was thinking like books of pictures of things, like maybe architecture books or books about like different species of animals or something. But books about photography, that's pretty specific. So I don't think we should go into that.
Books about photography should be here. I feel like that would probably be somewhere along the lines of like
manuals or academic text or something.
Yes. Yeah. I just really wasn't sure. So we're actually talking about like books of photographs of things.
Like we'll say like let's say you have a book and it's just full of famous photographs taken throughout the history of America or something like that.
I'm not gonna lie, I have seen some photography books like this, such as my stepdad bought a book of trains for my stepbrother because he likes trains, and the entire book was just photographs of trains with little captions that said what trains they were and what was interesting about that train.
Right. That's almost to a T what I was under the impression that photography books would be.
Okay.
I've seen a handful. Like my dad had one for a long time that was like different animals that are native to the species or native to the state that we live in. Sure. It's like here's all the birds and snakes and turtles and stuff like that. It was like, okay, that's pretty cool. There's not a lot of like information. It's just kind of like, here is the picture of the thing and then the name of the thing. And like you said, like maybe one or two sentences that are like, here is a fact about the thing.
Okay.
I don't think they make for very good books. I think they make.
I was about to say,
coffee table books would be a good way to describe it.
Yes, I feel like it's one of those things where it's neat and you keep it around because it is neat, and occasionally people look at it and go, "Huh, that's pretty neat."
It's mostly there, like it's not even there for whoever lives at the house. It's for when you have company and they see it and they go, "Oh, I didn't know you were interested in buildings." I don't know. But, like just something like that, where it's like, okay, this is for me to show people what I'm about. But,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they're kind of, in their own way, I think they're kind of like academic texts, where it's like, they serve a purpose.
I almost feel like they're worse, if I'm honest, because there's not as much information you can get out of it. It's
well,
like you could just look up a picture on the fucking internet.
Yeah, well, okay, there's that too. I imagine at one point in time, they were probably notably more worthwhile.
Yeah, but that's for fucking boomers, dude. We're in the 21st century, man. Get it together.
Oh boy, 21st century.
Too far?
I didn't realize.
I've already lived through 3 of those things. Centuries.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Are you thinking F?
I'm kind of thinking
for
F.
photography.
For photography, yeah. I mean, if you don't want to go down that far, I completely understand.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that bad.
I think
but I also
the ones on the
know
list,
that I don't own a single one, and I've never owned a single one, and I probably won't ever own a single one, and I'm no interest in reading one, so at the same time, that does sound like F-tier material.
Right, and here's the thing. When I look at the rest of the list, they're the worst. And we can talk about it, we can get into the rest, but like right now I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, like, fuck photography books.
Sure.
Photography is great. I love photography. I love like just going out and taking pictures of stuff. That's great. But would I ever try to publish a book of my pictures? No. Photography is an F. Photography.
You spelled this with an F, right?
Yeah, with like 12 Fs.
Alright, good.
Yeah. So it's literally photography.
Alright.
I don't know if I spelled it right. I got the F part right. I don't know if I got the photography.
It's fine.
Yeah, people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. Alright. Sky.
Your bread and butter. Ciencias for our Spanish-speaking
What are we
viewers.
talking about here? Science books?
I mean, I'm
or are
kind
we talking
of,
about like scientific articles?
It could be both. We could even separate it if you want to.
I don't think we need to.
Okay.
Right? Like,
we'll bunch them together.
okay. Because there's
This is your
a
jam.
whole
I feel like
section of scientific books that are literally just like biographies or like novels, narratives about science or scientists. But those are covered in their own category.
yeah.
And then like scientific texts are covered under academic texts. So I feel like the only thing really left to cover here is just like scientific journals, you know?
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Articles, which
Yeah. I guess technically that would kind of fall into like almost journalism, almost academic texts.
yes, that's kind of the. It feels weird. Like having science here feels a little odd to me.
Okay.
But at the same time, I do think there is a specific like place for scientific journalism that is different from everything else. So maybe it's worth having. The point is, it's also quite bad. Good for learning, but also not really, because 9 times out of 10 when you're reading scientific journals, they have something that they're there to study, and most of the time, you're probably not there to study the same thing that they are. You want to study something related. And they're not meant for entertainment. They're there to explain what they did and what happened when they did it. And that's about it.
Yeah. I'll give you full reins on this one, man. You already outed yourself as a biochemist major. So
I think, again, like, it serves a purpose. I actually think it's probably better than academic texts because they are concise. That is the one really good thing about scientific journals. If it's 14 pages, every single paragraph of that 14 pages is chock full of very specific information that you would need to know if you wanted to do something along these same lines as they're doing.
Yeah, it's always extremely detailed, which is awesome. And I don't really... when I was in college, I never saw shit like that.
And so, for me, I think I'm going to have to say D for diet.
D for diet. I hate that, and I don't know why.
I can't imagine why you would hate that. It's almost like it's a joke that sucks that, I felt obligated to bring back. Whatever.
Hey, man.
Oh,
Whispering
no,
ASMR here to tell you that that kind of hurts, but also, like, every joke has to come full circle, and I'm glad you said it. You're really starting to understand comedy.
What can I say, man? I try really, really hard to joke well. Yes,
You're doing good, man. And I can't believe you've stuck word for word to the script that I gave you through the email we sent.
That's not even true.
Read that. I was supposed to read that script.
It was actually just an invitation to come hang out because I'm a little lonely,
Little did you know we're actually so in sync that you couldn't possibly write a script that wouldn't be the exact same thing that I'm already planning to say. There's no other way.
I cannot doubt that any more than I do right now. If I wrote a script for us to say word for word for the podcast or for an episode of this show, I don't know what your opinions are on a lot of these things, which is kind of why we started doing it in the first place. But
right.
Like, dude, if I tried to write a script, I would have been like, history's gonna go at D. And then you would read it out loud and be like, history's gonna go at D? You'd, like, break the fourth wall and be like, dude, hold on. Like, your script sucks. I hate it. I disagree.
Your script sucks. I hate it. D is not for distory. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's B for bistory.
Obviously.
So,
right.
Travel books. I hate
travel
these.
Much, buddy?
I used to travel quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
When I was younger, my family, we would occasionally take like a week out of our summer vacation. My mom's a teacher or was a teacher, so that's kind of something we do, like a summer family trip not every year, but close to it. And this is a fun story. At one point, we went to Germany. It was a really fun trip. We bought, or I should say, one of my parents bought a German like culture book, kind of like a travel guide. It was horribly wrong, and it told us a lot about like these weird things that people from Germany do that Americans don't. And then we got there, and everyone's just like, yeah, shut up, we're just like you. We just speak a different language most of the time. We even speak English. Yeah, it was like, oh, cool. So we bought that book that was probably $10 or something like that. And it was a waste. It was completely useless. If you travel somewhere, I mean, maybe, like, look it up, but
I don't feel
book.
like that's the point of travel books, though. I don't feel like travel books are, like, really, really meant for you're there at the place, read the travel book. I think they're really just meant to get you hyped to travel somewhere.
Okay, but the book was fucking wrong, so...
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to dispute that, but I feel like... when I think of a travel book, I feel like it's something that, like, a real estate agency, like... Not real estate, travel agency. What am I talking about? A travel agency is going to be like, hey, there's this really good book. You should read through this, take a look at it, and it's like... the wonders of Bolivia, and it just tried to like hook you into the idea of traveling there.
And then you get there, and it's not bad or good. It's just kind of like, all right, dude, but like we do kind of the same stuff. So like,
yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like it's more of like a hype tool or something where like you sit, or okay, actually, come to think of it, I have seen, I have looked through a travel book that my grandma, she went to China.
okay,
And she brought back a travel book. And the whole reason that she bought the travel book in the first place was because she was able to use the travel book to tell stories about her trip. She used it as a visual aid.
okay. I was like, can you elaborate? Because what the fuck does that mean?
But she had photographs and whatnot, of course.
Gotcha.
But she would also be like reading from the travel booklet what the travel booklet has to say about it, and then she would like commentate on that, and it was neat.
Okay. So you're saying we should make a YouTube series about us traveling somewhere and then looking at a travel guide and figuring out what the differences and similarities are?
I'm not allowed to travel.
What the fuck?
No fly list, you know.
Oh, did you download movies illegally again?
Well, no, officially.
No, I would never do that. But hey guys, listen, if you want to pirate some movies, you can go to www.piratesomemovies.gov. They don't know that it's there.
You know, I actually think we probably shouldn't talk about this because YouTube is like real harsh on pirating.
Yeah.
Incredibly harsh. Like you can't even joke about pirating stuff because they're like, we don't know if you're joking. What if that's a real thing?
Well, fuck, we're on a list now. You were already on one.
I was about to say, who's now?
I'm on a list now. I'm sure I already was. I've said some stupid shit at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anywho, travel books are kind of bad.
Yeah, they're real dumb.
I could see putting them in F. I think they have a purpose, but I think the purpose is dumb and bad.
Yeah. I think if you want to travel somewhere, find this is gonna sound a little weird, but find like a subreddit for whatever country or place that you're planning to go to. Look up what people are talking about, and maybe just ask some questions there. People are gonna give you real answers, not like some very overdone thing in a book.
I mean, really, if you're interested in traveling somewhere, your best bet is to just get in touch with somebody that lives there.
Yeah.
Or just go.
I mean, that's why I brought up the subreddit, was because, people that live there or are natives to that area are probably going to be looking around that.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Atlanta subreddit. It's pretty cool there. Just throwing that out. Anyway, yeah, travel books are fucking stupid, so we're gonna put them at F for fucking stupid.
Alright, good.
That kind of worked, right? Like, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Alright, so manuals.
Yeah, manuals.
Are we talking genuine, like, how-to guides?
Yes. And here's the thing. I am a fucking man, okay? I throw those away no, I'm kidding. I always hated that kind of mentality of just like if you buy like furniture from IKEA, it's like, oh, don't you read the manual? That's stupid. It's like, no, that's why it's there. Like, it's gonna help.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've built a lot of furniture in my time, and and every attempt, I always lay everything out, read through the instructions, and go, huh, whoo boy. And then I just go at it until I have a question, and then I go back to the manual.
So you basically do it like you're cramming for a test in middle school. You like shove all the notes into your brain for like 20 minutes before the exam, and then you just go at it and hope for the best until you come across a problem.
Yeah.
Then you cheat. No, I'm just kidding.
It's an open note test. It's an open note test. I just like the extra challenge.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't get that at all. I hate challenge. That's why I want to work in the entertainment industry. So here's the other point that I want to make. And this one is genuine. They're not cool. Like, there's no point in reading a manual or how-to guide on anything and being like, huh, well, that's pretty. You're reading them because you're immediately trying to do something, or at least in my opinion, in my circumstances, it's always just been like, how do I do this? And then I look it up or whatever, and then I'm immediately doing it, and then it usually leaves my brain after that.
I guess.
I feel like you had a counter argument, but...
Well, I've kind of had a little bit of both experience, because I have attempted to read some how-to stuff on how to do, like, art.
Okay.
I'm not an artist. I'm real bad at art. Particularly painting. I'm bad at drawing, but Lord above, I am god awful at painting. I have attempted to improve my drawing skills once or twice.
Uh-huh.
And you know, how-to books are kind of, you know, they're there. They're there for that purpose. And I don't know how much they really helped, but I definitely went to them with the intention of learning a skill that I have proceeded to use for the majority of my life. Even if I'm still very bad at it.
I think any kind of art is pretty much where I draw the line on that, and like why they're. But would you consider, like, I guess drawing it or painting is more specific. But I was thinking like music, like theory, hypothetically. That's not really a manual at that point. That's more like almost like academic text.
Yeah, true.
So I think visual art is really the only place where I draw the line on a manual being like worthwhile to retain the information. Or maybe like gardening.
Okay, yes, gardening, true.
Yeah.
But the other situation in which I have found manuals to be very interesting is that my grandpa actually had this book, which was a how-to-fix-it book.
Okay.
Now, this book was 250 pages long, and just had basic principle of design for every household object and appliance that you can think of.
Okay.
And specific details on if it broke, how might it be fixed? I found this incredibly useful on a great number of occasions.
That's pretty cool. I'll be honest. That's a good ass manual. While I'm thinking about it, I just want to point this out. Not a book. It's actually a YouTube channel, and it's just really, really cool stuff. It's called Dad, How Do I? And it's like a guy that, if I'm not mistaken, grew up without a dad. And so now he makes this YouTube channel that's like very just typical things, like how to tie a tie, how to fix a running toilet, how to change a tire, and stuff like that. And it's just very informative and very like kind-hearted YouTube videos that are tutorials on that kind of stuff, and it's really cool. So I just wanted to give that a quick, award for being fucking cool.
Okay.
And it is that kind of similar stuff. It's just like how to do everyday household stuff that, you know, most people don't just tell you how to do. Bless you?
That was a notable cough.
Ah.
I felt it coming, and I just gently removed my headset and held it as far away from me as possible.
It was definitely quiet, but I heard it. I wanted to give you that satisfaction of blessing you.
Thank you.
We can cut that out if you want.
Do what you think is best, buddy.
I'm going to leave it in, and I'm going to go, and then I'm going to say
And
bless
then
you.
reverb it?
No, well, yes, but I'm going to overdub me going, over your cough.
Okay.
I'm making so much work for myself. I'm gonna forget. It's just gonna stay in just like that. Yeah. So manuals, I'll say, are pretty. I think there's like very few occasions where they're worthwhile. So I don't want to put them like bottom tier or even like. I guess I'd go with C or D. C would be a stretch, but I'm gonna say the majority of my brain is thinking D right now, and you can tell I'm really thinking about it because I'm screwing up some words.
I can agree with D. Really, I can. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking at C and I'm like, I could put it in C, and then my brain is like, I mean, you could do a lot of things.
But do you want to?
Yeah.
We could put it at S if we really wanted to, but do we really want to?
I think D. I think D's good.
D is right where I want it to be, in all honesty.
Okay.
Manuals, my favorite skateboarding trick. That's lame and not true. So we're gonna move on to reference text. This is dictionaries, thesauruses, if you're a fucking nerd American who pronounces things wrong.
What?
Thesaurus.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds cooler, makes more sense. Rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Yeah, that's how English people pronounce it.
Really?
I think. I could be wrong.
I'm
No
gonna
one quote me on that. Yeah, look that up. I'm genuinely curious. I've heard it be pronounced thesaurus before, and I'm like, that.
British pronunciation. No, it is no.
It's thesaurus.
Yes. American, it is thesaurus. And British, it is the same, but with slightly different intonation on the S.
Reference text is, again, dictionaries, thesauruses. These are very useful, I gotta say. Not just in the sense of, like, I need to look up a word, but, like, I don't know, I think it's really cool sometimes to just whip out a dictionary and, like, flip to a random page, point to a word, and be like, this is something that I know now. As dumb as that might sound, it's like very quickly you can just gain that slight bit of knowledge, you know, that like word of the day calendar kind of shit, except you have infinite possibility of pulling up any word.
I knew someone that said that carrying around a dictionary was the sexiest thing you could do.
No. Hard disagree. That's fucking stupid. However, they're very useful. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about a dictionary or a thesaurus that I don't know why I'm so bummed out about that. It's just like they're useful in more ways than you would expect. Like if you need to sound smarter, you know, just like start reading a word of the dictionary every day. If you want to, you know, make your emails and your letters or your own conversation shine a little bit more. You know, if you have like the opportunity to whip out a thesaurus and, you know, you use it. It's not high up there, but I think they're definitely the most useful, at least on an average day-to-day basis.
I mean, yes, that is technically true.
Okay, I'll say it this way. They have the quickest return for information. Like,
yes,
I love philosophy books the most.
Not much information.
No, that's fair. But like, think about it like this: like, if you want to really come to grips with like the theory or school of thought that's written in a philosophy book, you have to read the entirety of the book. Whereas if you want to find something out very quickly through a dictionary or even like an encyclopedia, if people still use those, then, you know, like you flip to it, you read. I mean, it takes all of maybe 5 minutes. And then you've gained that slight bit of knowledge, even if it's, you know, temporary and it doesn't retain very well. At least you have it. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's just quick. I think that's why That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, let me just ask you.
Yeah.
Are you trying to put this in C tier?
I mean, we could, yeah.
I'm squinting real heavy right now.
I'm not doing a bit so that we'll have something in C tier, but I do really genuinely think that like dictionaries and thesauruses, like they're good, quick information, even if they're not very in depth and they're not very, like readable. They kind of suck when it comes to that. But like if you're just trying to find quick information, it's alphabetized. You look up whatever word, or don't, I don't know, find a random word like I was saying. And you just learn. Like it takes all of a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think for me it's very much in the same boat as like science or manuals, wherein it serves a purpose.
That's fair.
It serves that purpose well.
Mm-hmm.
And don't read the dictionary.
No, definitely don't read the entire dictionary. That would be a waste of your fucking time.
Exactly. So I'm thinking it's D, just like the rest of them there.
Okay, yeah.
I think it fits in really well. Okay.
D for
don't read it, please.
Don't read the entire thing.
Yes.
Reference. I just realized I didn't move my microphone off the same table that my keyboard's on. Fuck yeah, we're gonna hear some
ASMR.
Oh, is that what?
Hey guys, this is my yo-yo very, very much offended me earlier in the episode ASMR. This is me clicking my computer keyboards.
Just so you know, that is an incredibly common ASMR thing.
Oh, being
Keyboard
offended by yo-yo? Oh, okay, that's fine too, I suppose.
No, I would never offend an ASMR artist.
What do you think I'm doing right now, dude? Like,
that was meant to be an
so
even
much
more
ASMR.
offensive. That was like, whatever. I tried.
No, I get what you're trying to say, man. It's okay. This is the Teller Morose forgives Yo-Yo for being an absolute bitch to him earlier in the episode ASMR.
I think this might be a good time for us both to read some self-help books. Because you really need some self-confidence, and I need to learn how to stop being such a dick.
So here's the thing, man. Self-help books are pretty cool.
Yes.
And I'm saying this genuinely. Like, there are, like, I mean, I think a lot of people discredit self-help books as like like you're bad at being a person, so you need to read a book to tell you how to do it. It's like, no, that's not true in the slightest. No, because some of them are just like, here's ways to, like handle your money on some occasions. Is like, here's how to,
Yes, because
work with
you're
your
bad
finances.
at handling your finances, so you need someone in a book to tell you how to do it.
God damn it. You got me there.
It's not a bad thing. It's okay to be bad at something. In fact, it's important that you're taking responsibility for being bad at the thing and trying to get better at it.
Yeah.
You should be applauded for fixing it, not for being bad at it. You should not be applauded for being bad at it. You should not be laughed at either, but, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how people are. But, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Anything that you, like, think you need any kind of help with, there's no shame in trying to find help.
Yes, very true.
And, there's a lot of books out there that are made for not just, like, finances, like I was saying. There's some about how to be less mean to people or less critical, or how to be more critical or more assertive. There's some on just how to flat out make friends and get rich, I think is the title of that book.
I will say, at this moment in time, I think I could really do with reading a self-help book on how to handle my like day-to-day life and scheduling and like getting more stuff done.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I could use that. It would probably help me out,
Yeah. And there's no shame in feeling that way. I think everyone at some point should probably read a self-help book. They're very scientific
Helpful.
at the end of the day. Yeah, they're helpful. They are usually based on either a professional's experience or, some sort of science to some extent.
Yeah.
Or, like some sort of academic background.
Worst case scenario, it's anecdotal, and maybe it doesn't work for you. Maybe it does, because, so sometimes you and someone else maybe aren't so different.
Yeah. And you know what? I would recommend maybe a self-help book alongside a philosophy book, because those kind of go together as like a sort of lifestyle choices that other people, even excluding yourself, could be, taking part in. And yeah.
They're
And
both very, very much about self-improvement, and that's a very worthwhile, honorable thing to do.
yeah, it's a choice that I don't think a lot of people turn to really like self-help books. For you probably shouldn't turn to a self-help book for any beyond stressful feelings you may have. I'm gonna put the National Suicide Hotline prevention number on the screen. Obviously don't turn to a self-help book for those kind of things, but if you are feeling a little bit more like, you need some sort of guidance on yourself and you're not really sure what you're looking for, maybe just find something within like the self-help section of a bookstore or library and, just see what calls out to you. You'd be surprised how many of those things can have like an emotional lift on your psyche.
Yeah. So, I guess, it sounds to me like we're putting self-help in S for self-help.
Oh, wow. We are doing that. Right next to philosophy.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yep, way to fucking ruin the moment there.
Alright. I have to say, this has been an interesting one. Some things ended up on this list a little higher than I really thought they would.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of...
Ooh. Lightning round. You ready? Are you looking at the tier list?
Sure, yeah. What's up?
Yeah, you're definitely not.
I am. I always am. I always have been.
Boom! Cookbooks, where you put them?
Cookbooks. Useful. C for cookbook?
Yeah!
C for cookbook.
I love cookbooks, honest to God. I want to tell this story before I type this out.
All right.
Me and a buddy went to, I will say, a used bookstore to avoid descriptions. And we found this Italian cookbook. And at the start of every section, they have like the cookbooks are always separated into like what type of food they technically are.
Yes.
And right before they got to the main entrees section, there was a little page that just had a single quote on it. And the quote was anonymous, but the quote said, "No man is lonely while eating spaghetti." And that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, but it's funny as hell for some reason. I read that when I was like 17 when I read that, and it stuck to me for so long.
Okay.
I don't like spaghetti that much, if I'm honest. I just thought that was hilarious, and I couldn't help but
I mean,
keep
I
it in
will
my head
admit,
forever.
it's pretty hard to feel bad about life when you're eating spaghetti. Like,
That's true.
It's not like I love spaghetti. Like, spaghetti is like the best thing that... No, it's fine.
Spaghetti's all right. Yeah.
It's all right. But there's something about it. When you're eating it, you don't, like... It's hard to feel bad about things. You're just like, yeah. This is all right.
It's like life
this
just
is
kind
okay.
of pauses for a minute, and you go, I'm eating
Need
spaghetti.
a moment, chew it over with spaghetti.
Oh, sorry. I gotta cut that out.
Oh no. Oh jeez.
Yeah. I can hear my echo every once in a while. It's very strange. Yeah, so I think that's the list, baby. And
All right.
I'm gonna
Would you
read
like
it
to
off.
do a rundown? Yeah.
We'll start from the bottom, much like
Started from the
Drake. Yeah. At the bottom we have travel and photography. At E we have academic texts and journalism. At D we have the majority of things. We have biography, science, manuals, and reference texts. At C we have cookbooks. At B we have history. At A we have autobiographies and narrative accounts. And at S we have philosophy and self-help.
All right.
Yeah, I'm happy with this, man. It's a good looking, pretty evenly spread, except for D.
No, I was about to say it's definitely not evenly spread. That's weighted towards the bottom as expected.
We have one thing on every tier, which is nice.
Yeah,
sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's been good. I think we hit some good points here.
Yeah.
I hope everybody has enjoyed this episode of Tier List Tuesdays. I know we certainly did.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we will see you again for the next one. Thank you very much for joining us. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Hey, one last thing. Don't forget to subscribe and check out our social media before Yo-Yo insults me again. Have a
Wasting everybody's time with these stupid plugs, man.
I can't help it. All right, that's it. That's the end of this shit. I just remembered the reason why I said today I'm gonna leave this in. Today I was at my day job, and we were told to clean the parking lot because they're running out of things for us to do. And we're like trucks load in from the back or whatever, so we were cleaning in the back, and there's like plastic bottles and stuff that we're just throwing into a trash can. And I came across this fucking awesome looking Snickers poster. And I forget what it said, but it was something along the lines of like, don't be a Jerry, like you're not you when you're hungry, grab a Snickers or whatever. And just something about that, like I just fucking saw that and I laughed, and my coworkers were just looking at me like, what the fuck, like what's happening? And after I did that, I went inside and I was like, hey, hypothetically, if there was a really funny Snickers poster that's been outside in the parking lot where the trucks park for like months probably, could I just take that? And they're like, yeah, dude, fucking keep it. We don't care. And the reason why I'm mad is because I forgot to put it in my car. It's still out there. So tomorrow I'm definitely going to drive around the parking lot and put it in the back of my car, and hopefully no one will notice. And then I'm going to hang it up in my room.
Okay.
I don't even like Snickers that much, but it's just cool fucking thing.
Yeah. Neat.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to stop the
sometimes that's all you
recording
need.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.